Welcome back. Well, we're tracking very closely the devastating landslides in Wayanad that's claimed 106 lives. That's the official number, but be sure the death toll could rise as alerted by the Kerala government itself. I had with me joining us Health Minister of Kerala, Veena George, and she confirmed the death toll and also confirmed that there are hundreds of them who are trapped. The most challenging part right now is that it's dark, sunlight is gone, and rescue teams will find very hard to actually get into those challenging terrains. Many villages have been fully cut off. There's no communication, and it appears that there are nearly 400 people in several of those villages who are right now trapped. 98 officially missing. I'm going to cut to our environmentalists and experts to give us a sense on why such landslides are occurring way so often. We have Dr. Fayaz Khudsar, Senior Scientist, Biodiversity Expert, Anand Arya, Environmentalist, Dr. Anjali Quatra, who is the Director General Center for Disaster Risk and Safety, and Professor YP Sundrayal, Geologist. Let me start in order. Dr. Fayaz, if you could give us a sense of whether this is a global problem or a local problem. Tell us if this is really the after effects or the real effects, real-time effects of global warming.
Actually, there is no doubt in it that changing climate dynamics is creating serious problem everywhere, especially in hilly tract. In fact, when you look at it, landslide is a natural process, but unfortunately, since recent past, it has increased manifold. And reason is man-made reason. When you look at the construction of houses, you look at the, infringing into the forest areas, you look at the land use pattern changing drastically across those hilly tracts, creating serious problem. And Kerala, when you see the steep slope of Western Ghat always created problem in Kerala. And knowing the fact that Kerala is the, a densely populated state, one of the densely populated states of India, and it's more difficult. In fact, the steep slope of Western Ghat, when you have a heavy rain, prolonged rainfall, the mud, the debris, all sediments, all flow so fast with boulders that human life goes like this. It's a very sad to see on your screen. And therefore, we now need to understand that what kind of development we are looking for. We are looking for a development which gives what you call life supporting system, or we are taking human life. In fact, now we are trying to reach to every household through roads, cutting the Himalayas, cutting the very, fragile hillocks. So now scenario is very clear, and it is time to understand and keep check on it. Otherwise, everywhere it will happen.
And otherwise we're going to see a wake-up call of such nature. But, the question here is, how does development, infrastructure go hand in hand with the environment? Is there even a possibility of such a scenario? Anand Arya, if you could jump in on this. You're often pointing fingers at roads, infrastructure, tourism. But that's the job of the government as well, to make life easy for its citizens. But where do you draw the line?
Well, I think way back, I think it was the early 90s when Justice Rumapal of the Supreme Court, we have a judgment in Tirupati tank case where it was stated very, very clearly that the development cannot be at the cost of environment. Now, as Dr. Fayaz said, it's not a question of just the climate change. To my mind, the climate system has been completely destroyed. And we are not doing anything whatsoever to restore it. Let us see why particularly in these hilly areas and particularly in Wayanad, the landslides have taken place. Number one, we have destroyed the forests that used to hold the earth and the soil together. Now you have destroyed that. You are cutting roads. And I think the kind of technology which used to be used years ago, say 50 years ago, or maybe 100 years ago, at that time, of course, the landslides will be there so long as the hills are there. But the fact is that if you manage the construction of the roads in such a manner that the angle is, is not very acute, and therefore you would be able to save it. But unfortunately, in Wayanad, we know what Dr. Gadgil, the report of 2011, if I'm not mistaken, was never made public. In fact, the CIC's orders were also not followed by the then UPA government. Had that come in and it had been there, and ultimately that report was diluted by the committee headed by Mr. Kasturi Rangan. Now, had that been taken care of at that time, and the government had very clearly stated that the financial interests would be suffering. Now, I cannot understand how an environment which has been given to us through millions of years we can destroy. In fact, the Supreme Court has gone one step ahead, calling it a precautionary principle that we are only the custodians of the environment. You cannot create an environment at any place in a very short time. It takes ages actually for the environment to be. And here, of course, it is the financial interest. You're cutting the trees, you're not taking care of. So this is the disaster that is happening, and it is going to happen not only here.
And this is surely a wake-up call, but you're saying Kerala is populated, you're saying that there's, a quick development and it shouldn't be at this pace. We see reminders like these that tell us why it's wrong. But how do you explain landslides that are happening in different parts of the country? In Kedarnath, in 2013, we hear that there were 5,700 people who died. Landslides there, the worst of its kind. Anjali Quatra, if you do want to come in, doctor, on this, landslides are occurring way too often in different parts of the country. It's not Kerala alone. We saw in Coorg in 2018 that killed 20 people. Coorg also, for a whole week, it was devastating for them.
Well, yes, it is happening all over, and there has been such an increase again because of human activities. But the four major natural causes, that is the heavy rainfall, and that is the biggest trigger. But
are you saying it's abnormally heavy that we are seeing?
Heavy rainfall has been seen as a root cause because that increases the pore pressure, and also it makes the soil saturated and the holding capacity of the soil decreases, and that causes the slides. And, even the erosion, the natural erosion of the soil, because the vegetation cover is what binds the soil particles together. And when the clay and the vegetation seeps out, the holding capacity again of the land is decreased, and that is another natural cause. The third natural cause, of course, if you see the rest of the India also, is the earthquake, the seismicity of especially the Himalayan regions. Because if you see the landslide frequency in India, it's the major part is in the Himalayas. 66% in the northwest Himalayas, 18% in the northeast Himalayas, and it is 14% in the western Ghats. So it's mainly the earthquake activity that leads to landslides, as well as volcanic eruptions. So, we can't undo these natural causes, which is again, being increased, exacerbated by the human, anthropogenic activities, which some of them were listed by the environmentalists, sir. And also, the mining activities that was missed out.
I was just actually coming to that with our geologist, Sundrial. If I can bring him on that. Mr. Sundrial, Professor Sundrial, your expertise on mining. We give permissions, the government is earning out of it, and there's extensive mining that happens in different parts. There's a mining mafia who are so brazen. They're usually in cahoots with the local police, with the government officials, and it's a known fact. How much can you attribute mining, illegal mining and mining at all, to natural calamities of such nature?
Yes, actually, what happened in the Western Ghat, we have to look into the rock type, we have to look into the geology and geography of the area. Being a geologist for me, I can say that the rocks in the Western Ghat, they have the clay minerals. And when clay minerals came in contact with the water, either it is a rainfall or anything, swelling and pinching process is there. And due to this swelling and pinching process, the material started to slow down. The second thing, the pore water pressure develops, and due to the pore water pressure, the slope can slide down. But I will say that it is all due to the unscientific development. You
When
asked
you say
me about,
unscientific development, what do you mean, sir? How do you draw the line? How can you go hand in hand in ensuring
I will
infrastructure,
say,
ensuring
if
you're
you are,
boosting tourism? Because Wayanad is a jewel of India. When it comes to tourism,
I
Wayanad
know.
really tops the list. So where do you cut corners?
I will tell you. If you are constructing the roads, then certainly you are cutting the slopes of hill. You have the budget for construction of the road. You have budget for the repair of the road, but you don't have any budget for the slope stabilization. The slope which is disturbed due to this cutting, they cannot be stabilized until and unless these type of the incidents will happen, and nobody can stop that. So it is unscientific. If you are cutting any slope, you will have to ensure that that slope should be not further move or slide, and you will have to construct the very good quality retaining wall there. I am openly telling you that in Himalaya we have seen I belong to Uttarakhand. So in 2013 to 2021 Rishi-Ganga disaster, we have seen that this all is due to the unscientific development in the hilly area. Number two, as far the mining is concerned, mining is also a very big problem, and government, when want some revenue from these resources, they just exploit these hills, but they never take seriously the how we can protect these slopes.
You know, a quick word, as we're really short on time. Fayaz, if you could tell me what action can the government really take? Now, is it too late, or something that they can do with immediate effect to avoid a situation like this?
Please refer to Madhav Gadgil committee report itself. Will tell you all answer. In fact, already eco-sensitive zone has been decided in Western Ghat, but unfortunately, while taking development to consideration, we never see all those scientific, recommendation given to the government. So therefore, science need to be applied. Otherwise, what is happening today will accelerate many fold. So therefore, we must see the science behind any development, because people are important, not the minerals. They need drinking water, not the minerals. So therefore, any construction need to be looked into through mirror of science. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to survive.
Anand Arya, a quick word from you on whether the government is really looking into aspects of climate change, or are we just turning a blind eye? I'm saying respective governments, and even for the center, the rules when it comes to roads, highways, all comes with the center. And we see there's rapid development in that space. Should there be a stop somewhere?
You see, the central government actually has to wake up. Actually, today, anything in any area, whichever way you go, any environment issue which is there is just simply brushed aside. All the environment regulations are being diluted. I mean, as was the case with the Madhav Gadgil report. Had that been in this thing, and had it been followed like your manuscript, I mean, this thing, let's say like a Bible, then there was absolutely no reason why this kind of a development will be permitted there. Because we all know we are only custodians of the environment. We cannot just destroy it today. We are in custody for the future generations. And again, the way the permissions are being given left, right, and center for cutting the trees, which are absolutely essential for maintaining the balance in the climate system. Now, if we do this, I mean, you cut trees, then just look at the visuals that you yourself are showing. I mean, I cannot imagine this happening to Wayanad. I mean, I have not
I'm
been
actually
there.
shocked because Wayanad is one of those few places that has such dense forest areas. I go there so often myself. It's actually dense forest areas. You can't really tell that trees are being chopped to that extent because there isn't that kind of rapid development as one may think. It's still...
My memory of Wayanad had been way back in 1968, a very short trip, but I would say that it was a heaven. But what I'm seeing today,
Yeah.
I think somebody has to be held responsible. And I think, as Dr. Fayyaz also said, the science has to be used. You know, we have advanced so much in various areas of science and technology that we should be able to make roads. I mean, look at what has happened in Uttarakhand and what's happening in Joshimath. And never anywhere in the world have I heard of a 6-story buildings in hills. I mean, they're all well spread out, maybe at the most 2 levels, not 6, 7, 8 levels. We are making helter and skelter. Look at 23,000 people, registering for going to Uttarakhand for Char Dham Yatra. Just imagine the kind of pressure we are putting on the hills. I mean, in terms of, all the facilities needed for the people, transport, this and that. And the first casualty is the tree, which is the lifeline for maintaining the floods.
Right. So I will have to cut you short. Unfortunately, we're in lack of time. Dr. Fayaz, Anand Arya, Anjali Quatra, and Professor Sunrial, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time for joining us. The last I know, the number of deceased there is 106. 98 of them are missing. The death toll could rise. India Today, right here with all the updates and developments on the Wayanad tragedy. Do stay tuned.